Hi, my name is Dr. Brian Stress. I'm a licensed psychologist. I've been working with children and families for roughly 27 years in some professional capacity. So first and foremost, I'd like to say, based on the research I read, roughly 50% of all marriages end in divorce. It's not uncommon, and hopefully people who end up going through a divorce end up in healthy relationships and their life is better. So there is hope. There is life after divorce. I'd like to share that with you. The question today is, how do I tell my significant other I want a divorce? Well, first of all, deciding whether or not you want a divorce or not is a huge question that needs to be answered for oneself. As I've indicated in previous videos, whether or not you want to stay in a relationship or not is, of course, up to you. You have to look at a relationship as to the positives and negatives, and or when you're putting your resources into the relationship, are you getting back the same amount or even more resources? So that would be a definition of a healthy relationship. Of course, some relationships wax and wane as to who puts into what effort in what area at any given time, but hopefully over time it equals out. So how do you tell your significant other that you're going to get a divorce? I would not use social media. Unfortunately, I know people who've done that now that social media has kind of taken over the world. I would, depending on how you feel about your significant other, you may want to do it in a public place. You may want to do it in a private place. You may want to do it in a place where you think your safety is concerned. So you may want to do it where there's enough people around to be witnesses to make sure you're safe and they're safe. That's only if it's conflictual. Of course, if you can have a conversation related to that you're not happy in the relationship. Of course, prior to getting a divorce, a couple can attend counseling with a counselor or psychologist. That can be a safe place to talk about whether or not to get a divorce. There is no set rule. It's basically based on your relationship. Of the utmost importance is to make sure that everybody's safe physically, emotionally, and in all other capacities. If there's going to be some sort of negative response, maybe some yelling or screaming, it might be a good idea to be in a public area and or once again in an area where it's safe. I would not bring up the subject of divorce in front of children initially. You're not quite sure how the other person is going to respond. We don't need to make things worse or complicate the divorce processes if that's what's going to happen. So if you'd like to know more about my colleagues or me, please select the Meet the Staff tab on our homepage. Thank you for listening to today's question. We look forward to answering more of your specific questions. Please submit your questions in the Add Comment section at the end of each article on Facebook in response to our newsletter.
The materials provided in this article are for informational purposes only. Use of and access to this article or any of the links contained within the article or website do not create a relationship between the author and the user or browser. We are professionals that have been trained and have experience in assisting individuals going through a divorce. Please click on divorceintexas.org for information about this service as well as privacy policy and terms of use. We are not lawyers and do not provide legal advice.